You know, to some people, this might be kind of a dusty old classic, but I think this pedal deserves a second look. What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Fossett, and today we're going to be checking out a pedal that's been around for ages that probably a lot of people know and people don't always give a second thought to, which is the Boss CE-5, the Chorus Ensemble 5. This has been an industry standard for a long time. They came out in 1991, and for the first 10 years, they were all analog before switching to digital in 2001. And this is the Chorus that's kind of on everybody's board for a long, long time. The thing about it is that in kind of recent years, everyone's gotten more enamored with some of the classic pedals. So people think of the CE2, and of course there's a Wazacraft CE2. Various others, I think of the Boss delays as well. A lot of people think back to the pink analog delay and kind of don't worry so much about the Boss digital delays, even though way more people probably have the digital ones. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent about other pedals, but hopefully you get my meaning. This is just the chorus that people would buy, and okay, yeah, it's a chorus and that's it. This is actually a really special pedal. This does a lot of really great things, and it actually does some things that I think other chorus pedals don't do as well. It doesn't do everything great though. It kind of has a sound and it kind of has some sweet spots, and it's got some other spots that at least I personally don't think are that usable. It could be stylistic, so bear with me. But one of the things that I think this pedal does incredibly well is to capture the actual sound of stereo double tracking if you keep it subtle and slow. When you do that, it creates that actually spacious sound. And believe it or not, I say stereo, it doesn't even need to be going stereo to get this sound. The sound that it does particularly well is with the rate backed off. And it really makes it actually sound like you're double tracking. So for obviously, chorus is an effect that's intended to emulate the sound of double tracking your guitar or other instruments. That creates a unique sound. When you're doing it in recording, typically if you double track, you've got them stereo panned to some degree. Now, when you put them both center, that's when it really sounds like chorus effect versus a double track or an ensemble effect. A lot of chorus pedals were meant to emulate that sound, but just wound up kind of having their own thing, something a little bit different. Sounds like the chorus effect, like we picture that sort of watery, warbly sound. That's not always what actual double tracking sounds like. It's kind of inspired by, but then created its own effect. This one, again, with the rate backed off, it just really nails that sound. Now, with the rate up, that's where I'm not actually that crazy about this one. With the rate up, it does do the kind of, it does the vibrato type thing, but not like your classic vibrato, pitch shifting vibrato pedal. It's just a wacky, chorusy kind of sound. The other thing that this pedal does exceptionally well, though, is give you the ability to tailor its EQ with the high and low filter on this double knob right here. Some choruses can sound kind of mid-range scooped, which give them almost a metallic sound. And this one can do that if you kind of back off the lows and push the highs a little bit. That's very, very typical of that kind of, classic 80s chorus effect sound. Chorus can also really warm up your tone. It can give you a little bit of a fatness to it. This one, if you back off the highs and, turn up the lows kind of to taste, you don't need to get them boomy. This can kind of get that sound as well. So between the slow rate and having the dual EQ filter, there's a lot that this pedal can do that I think other chorus pedals don't do as well. Now, other chorus pedals do more stuff and maybe even more better, but considering that this one's been around for 35 years and still does something as good, if not better, than other chorus pedals that are out there, I think is really special. Now, for this review, I am plugging it in primarily stereo because that's when you get the most out of your chorus pedal. So right now, let's dive back in and hear what this can do in stereo. All right, now obviously a big part of the chorus effect going back to the 1980s and into the 90s is to play it with gain, with some kind of distortion. So today I'm going to run this along with a Fulltone Plimsoul to hear how it handles dirt. All right, now to close it out, I also want to run it in mono. You get the most from your chorus pedals if you run them in stereo. However, a lot of us just don't do stereo. It might actually even be more common nowadays that there are like digital rigs and things, but I've brought dual amps to gigs before and run stereo, and it's fun. I enjoy it, but when push comes to shove, I don't really do it that often because it means bringing an extra amp, setting up all kinds of extra things. And, it frequently doesn't translate to the audience. For some groups it might. For some groups it might be a real staple of your sound. That's fine. I think for a lot of groups it doesn't. And, I actually always bring a second smaller amp to a gig as a backup. But, I just don't really... The stereo's fun, but it can be a hassle. So, to me... one of the real kind of tests of whether or not it's a good chorus pedal is, does it also sound good in mono? Does it sound good in its less ideal setting? This is also how you can tell a studio engineer who really knows what they're doing, if their mix sounds good in mono as well as stereo. That's neither here nor there. Let's hear how this sounds in mono. All right, everyone. This is the Boss Chorus Ensemble CE-5. This is one of the modern ones. It's, again, digital. They've been digital since 2001. They're just great pedals. You know, I don't know what else to say about it. It's survived for that long. It's an industry standard. Again, I think it's one that people don't get that excited about anymore because it's the one that was in the catalog. It's the one that's, you know, on the shelf in Guitar Center. It's not necessarily some new and exciting one or this or that, but it does the real classic subtle chorus sound so well. And, you know, hey, listen, many of you might like the sound with the rate up to. That's not really my cup of tea, but that's certainly a sound that a lot of players have used and can use to good effect. So let us know if this is a pedal that you have. Do you have experience with it? Do you have the other Boss chorus effects? I am going to link below to where you can check this out. That is an affiliate link. Do your shopping through that link. It supports my channel at no additional cost to you. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.